Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you. And in this one, I'm going to talk about the vaccine rollout in Sweden versus the US. Let's get into this. I'm super excited for this one because I've had COVID twice now, and it feels so good to get the first dose of the vaccine, which I just got. Hashtag Pfizer Squad. Anyone else that's got the Pfizer vaccine, fist bump for the camera. But I thought it'd be interesting to talk about the rollouts in Sweden versus the US versus, like, I guess, Europe in general. Talk about how it's going in Sweden. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. First thing I can say is interesting is, the United States had a huge advantage in the beginning because just being the first country to come out with the vaccine and then speed it through our process to get approved. Like, obviously, it probably needed to get approved in the United States before it could get approved in other countries because we had to be able to use it. This in turn gave the United States like a big advantage of being able to like manufacture this vaccine at first. But as many people know, the country was kind of in a chaotic place right around this turn of an election. And one of the issues that the United States deals with the vaccine had a lot to do with state issues. A lot of times the EU and the United States are very similar in the sense that really the United States is a bunch of smaller countries mixed together, kind of like how the EU is. And it was confusing on who would be responsible for this. Would the federal government be responsible for this? Or each state have to figure it out? In a lot of cases, each state had to figure it out, but maybe they never had the resources to do this kind of like vaccine rollout before. So it was a very slow start, and a lot of people had to wait in long lines. So we started much earlier in the United States than like probably Sweden. I feel like we were about 2 to 3 months ahead of Sweden, or we have been for the longest time. But like I said, now 61% of the population has been vaccinated. It's now just a challenge getting the people who haven't gotten vaccinated. It's kind of where we are right now. There's people that are hesitant to take the vaccine or not take the vaccine, and that's not here. I'm not here to debate that. I'm just here to kind of give the facts. I would say that the vaccine rollout in Sweden started out slow, and the main way you can see this is because Europe had like a second wave in the summer, which we didn't really have in the United States. It was kind of like we are having like mini second waves and not as heavily vaccinated states, but we might see like this Delta variant, I guess, getting a little bit worse in the United States. But for the most part, things have been slowly going back to normal in the States, where a lot of countries in Europe and in Sweden, like right around before June 21st came in and they changed the regulations for COVID, it was kind of touch and go there for May and June. And in a lot of cases, it felt like 3 months ago in the States, that's when people were starting to go back to everything. But the other thing I want to say about Sweden is that I would say now Sweden is catching up. They had the advantage of doing, because Sweden is such a small country, and I'm sure the EU had issues with figuring out how to do the vaccine rollout, kind of like the United States did with states, a little bit as far as like getting the vaccine, who's producing it, how do you go out with everything. But I want to say that I think Sweden has done a fantastic job here at the end. I got a text message. I got the vaccine. They had it set up so that a lot of people could get vaccinated at once, but that you had to sit and wait afterwards to make sure you had no negative reaction to the vaccine. I've already got everything booked for my second flight. It just seems to be a lot more technologically advanced, I would say, at least. I didn't just get a card. It's like it already seems like they're setting everything up. Where in the States, you would get a card right away. I got a card with when the schedule again, but everything seems to be being done electronically so that when this vaccine passport rolls out at some point, it's obviously going to do that we're prepared for that. So I've been really impressed with how far Sweden has come in a short amount of time. I thought that we would be still in the midst of this pandemic. We are. Like, don't get me wrong. We totally are. But I guess the biggest difference is that we can all see the light at the end of the tunnel. And now at this point, it's just a matter of getting people vaccinated and maybe not having like large rock concerts and stuff like that. But I think, I'm traveling here recently in Sweden, and one thing I can say is like, they're not really considering Sweden a at-risk country anymore for flying, or like the U.S. an at-risk country, which is just so interesting because just a few months ago, because Sweden wasn't having strong regulations, people give you a funny look if you were flying from Sweden, or they wouldn't want you to come into their country because of how bad COVID is here. And it just shows that how quickly, if you can get the population vaccinated, you can start to see differences. So if you're waiting to get your COVID vaccine, I hope you get one. If you're not getting a COVID vaccine, okay, that's your choice. I would personally like to say that I got COVID twice. The first time I got it wasn't such a big deal. And then the second time it hit me really, really hard. And it didn't matter how well I fought it the first time, like the second time crushed me. And I'm not sure my body could have handled the third time. And for anybody that's maybe you haven't had COVID and you're like afraid to get the shot, that's just my 2 cents. You do whatever you want. After going through it the second time, that's what I tell people that are hesitant of getting the vaccine, that I wish I would have had a vaccine beforehand so I didn't have to suffer as much. But that's always my thoughts. Give me your thoughts below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hej då!